Today we are taking a look at a promising venture from China, Qingdao Qixin Smart Parking, which is making a bold move into the ASEAN market. Now for the details. To understand the significance of this move, we must look at the gridlock currently paralyzing the region. In megacities like Jakarta and Bangkok, congestion is a massive economic drain. In Jakarta alone, traffic gridlock costs the Indonesian economy roughly $5 billion annually in lost productivity. The crisis is driven by a mismatch between rapid motorization and inadequate infrastructure. In cities like Kuala Lumpur and Bangkok, vehicle ownership has surpassed developed market levels. Yet, 90% of traffic congestion in central business districts is attributed to vehicles cruising for parking or illegal stops. However, looking south to Singapore, the story changes. Unlike its neighbors, Singapore manages this through aggressive regulation. The URA's 2025 mandate enforces a strict zero parking growth for new developments in the CBD. This creates a calculated annual shortfall of 30,000 parking spaces. For developers, this is a crisis, but for a rising player like Qixin, this policy-driven gap is their primary market moat. How does an emerging venture capture this opportunity? Qixin is executing a sophisticated pivot from being a traditional equipment seller to a PaaS, parking as a service operator. Under a traditional model, a developer would pay up to $50,000 per space upfront, a massive capital burden. What is Qixin's solution? A zero down payment model. Qixin builds and retains ownership of the equipment, while the developer provides the space. Revenue is then generated through a 70-30 split of parking fees, achieving an 18% internal rate of return over long-term contracts. This allowed Qixin to leverage Singapore's policy dividends as capital. By integrating EV chargers, they tap into LTA's ECCG grants and BCA's Green Mark incentives. They aren't just selling a product, they are providing a smart energy node that aligns perfectly with the Singapore Green Plan 2030. Hardware reliability is the backbone of this model. In Southeast Asia's humid and saline environment, corrosion is the primary killer of mechanical parking systems. Qixin has countered this with an Italian Gamigo hot dip galvanizing line, giving their structures a 50-year anti-corrosion life, more than double the 20-year industry standard. Operational speed is equally critical. Qixin's proprietary AGV plus lift hybrid system achieves a retrieval time of under 64 seconds, compared to the 3-minute average of local competitors. Furthermore, their system is fully compatible with the Smart Nation API, allowing for real-time data sharing with the government, a key compliance requirement in Singapore's digital ecosystem.
Having explored Qixin's business model and market position, let's dive into how it creates tangible value for urban ecosystems. Qixin's urban value creation can be explained through 3 pillars: spatial efficiency, life cycle durability, and smart ecosystem integration. First, on spatial efficiency, Qixin's automatic parking system reduced land use by roughly 50% to 70% compared with traditional road-based parking. In high-density city centers, this is not just a technical upgrade, it is a real estate strategy. Developers can reallocate released space to high-value use and improve project ROI, especially in urban renewal contents where land is extremely scarce. Second, on life cycle economic durability, Qixing emphasizes long-term asset performance rather than only short-term installation benefits. With its hard dip capability, the system is designed for much longer service life and lower major repair risk. Third, Qixing positions parking infrastructure as a part of the smart and green urban ecosystem. By combining AGV-enabled unmanned operations, API connectivity, and EV charging integration, parking shifts from a passive facility to an active node in city mobility networks. This supports energy efficiency, data-enabled traffic management, and sustainability goals aligned with green certification frameworks. Now, let's move into the SWOT analysis. From the strength perspective, Qixing has three core internal advantages: large-scale manufacturing capacity, full-stack control from R&D to deployment, and a defensible technology moat based on anti-corrosion durability. Together, this increased execution control and product reliability. For weakness, two issues are clear. First, the model requires high upfront capital for equipment and control systems. Second, operational capacity is significant. Uptime, response speed, and maintenance quality must stay constantly high, or service risk raise quite quickly. In terms of opportunities, external conditions are favorable. EV adoptions and smart city development are converging, creating demand for integrated parking plus charging systems. Ongoing urbanization in China and Southeast Asia are also supports the long-term demand growth. In addition, but there are also straits. Regulatory fragmentation across markets can increase compliance costs and slow rollout. Digital disruption may shift competition towards software-led parking solutions, and entering mature regions such as Europe or North America requires strict certifications and strong local partnerships, which can also raise the market entry costs.
Hi, right now I would like to talk a little bit about the growth strategy. The strategy for teaching is based on some multi-steps, and there are three tiers to the model that is focusing and exploring of the film technology and as well as leadership that is pressing to the Southeast Asia market. The model is based on some core adjacent transformational model that we need to actually migrate the degrees of market entry into something we call protecting a recurring revenue stream and finally establish Qixing as a market intelligent kind of urban infrastructures ecosystem. So to do that, there's basically core optimization. We need to do like automated parking infrastructures that we want to build with some industrial engineering capability as well as manufacturing advantages, skills, costs, etc. to a 50 lifespans in the infrastructure. So with that, the strategy objective is to make sure that the test business model is very challenging, and while we are laying the foundation of developing of the structure, core businesses of that will offer the branch some unique economies, operational performance, scalable infrastructure, foundation of leverage to the further part of it. So with the smart parking, as what you can see, our growth strategy will also include smart mobility service layer expansion, which will include the core optimization of automatic parking infrastructure adjacent to that. Smart mobility like service layer expansion transitional will be actually quite important. Growth will still continue to grow as we have a transformational AI driven urban mobility platform that demands utilization platform related parking issues, energy consumption, EV chargers will kind of link to that particular piece of the growth strategy. At this stage, the value proposition is no longer a simple urban infrastructure, but it's a long-term play of intelligent urban infrastructure layer that we are able to kind of make sure that we actually leverage a part of it. So as a part of growth strategy, this is something that we are thinking. And now it comes to the launchpad and financial piece of it. So Singapore is used as a teaching regional hub, and with the regional hub, it actually has great testing background, financing and collaboration services. So the Singapore market is early market that we want to kind of leverage in with the Land Transport Authority, with the policy that's in Singapore. We want to use this launchpad and grow it to the global piece of it as what we are thinking. The market opportunity is great, and then the strategy launchpad and regional structure that enable us to do that. So with that, I want to show you some of the figures that we're talking about. Singapore smart parking system, which will be a strategy part of the launchpad and regional service. As you can see, the figures will improve in the CAGR of about 17.4%, which will lead us to a world-class infrastructure, as well as something that is sustainable, that is a car-like policy. So if you like, I wanted to thank you for your kind attention, and hoping this will be something that we are looking out for, that we can establish through regional financing, tax incentive, advantages, and etc.
Qixing's expansion roadmap follows a phased growth strategy focused on early validation, domestic scaling, and subsequent regional platform rollouts. In the first year, Qixing entered Singapore through a software-first, asset-light model, deploying smart parking solutions across pilot sites and forming strategic partnerships to validate regulatory fit and unit economics. In the second year, successful pilots are scaled into broader site deployments, supported by subscription-based software services and operations and maintenance contracts that establish recurring revenues. From the third year onward, Qixing leverages its Singapore reference projects to expand across Southeast Asia, beginning with Malaysia and subsequently Indonesia and Vietnam, while rolling out its AI-powered smart mobility platform at scale. This phased approach enables rapid regional growth while maintaining capital efficiency and risk control. Qixing's regional expansion is supported by an evolving financing framework that aligns capital deployment with each growth phase. During the initial market entry stage, funding is primarily provided through internal capital and smart city grants, reflecting the low-cost pilot-based strategy. As operations scale in Singapore in the second year, retained earnings, public subsidies, and trade finance support site expansion and recurring revenue development. From the third year onwards, regional growth is largely funded through operating cash flow, complemented by project finance loans for revenue recurring infrastructure, trade finance for procurement, and selective venture capital for AI platform development. This blended financing structure enables sustainable expansion while maintaining financial discipline and capital efficiency. Qixing's vision is to make cities work better for people. By integrating industrial engineering with intelligent digital platforms, disciplined growth, financing ecosystems, and policy alignment, Qixing is building the intelligent infrastructure backbone for future cities. Thank you for watching today's breaking news. Have a good rest of the day.